Hello viewers, what I have here is a 2001 Lasko Premium Box Fan Model 3723. It's a 3-speed box fan. I don't think Lasko made a 2-speed model in this era, or at least I've never heard of or seen anything of the sort. Now, why would I want a box fan from this era? Well, personally, I'm very fond of this particular era of Lasko box fans because they generally perform way better than the modern counterparts. However, they do whistle a bit more because the profile of the blades is slightly different. And many of you might be wondering, well, how so? They're still pedal blades. Well, for one thing, the pitch is slightly deeper on this than the newer ones. But also the backward taper on this on the trailing edge of the blade starts roughly about here. On newer fans, it starts way down here. So that gives it a little bit more surface area to push some air. But however, it comes at a cost of noise. Now, these do whistle a bit more than the newer ones. It's a common thing with this particular era from 1999 to about 2004, 2005, when they stopped using this particular blade set. Sometime in 2002, 2003, they had this blade set, but with part of the trailing edge of the blade chopped off. I've seen a couple of examples of those online. That is mainly probably for the noise. But they continue to use this particular blade set up until the recall. Speaking of the recall, this one has the recalled motor. It's a permanent split capacitor motor. Slightly more powerful than the modern ones, but then again, it is pushing a slightly deeper blade with more surface area overall. But in general, these motors run fine. In fact, there's many of them still in service today. But yeah, I grew up with this particular era of Lasko fans, so it means something to me personally to have one. I have a couple of them now. I've had dozens of them over the years, but at one point I was really trying to go after much older stuff, but you know, these are getting older now, so they're becoming more collectible these days. Hardly any of this era stays online for very long, if you see them for sale. I purchased this from another fan collector, Cartier Ed. He has a YouTube channel. I'll post a video of this fan, how it looked when he got it. I've taken it apart and done some additional cleanup and did a little bit of repair to a dent that was here. It's not perfect. It's a little wavy, but it's a lot better than it was. I glued up some cracks that were here, and there was one down here as well. Also straightened out the cabinet. The middle section of the cabinet where the braces are was pushed down, and so it was bowed in the bottom, so I bent all that back up. And I got the central alignment of the motor pretty good. You can't always do that with these fans because even from the factory they weren't that careful with the alignment of that. But the hub is pretty centered now. Runs great. I added a little extra oil into the motor just because I know he did in his video. I don't know if his service video will be out by the time this video's out, but I'm waiting until the main video of him unboxing this thing comes out, and then I'll post this. Anyways, here we go. Low speed. Oh yeah, and it came with the box. Forgot to mention that. In fact, I'm going to talk about this box for a minute. So here it is. I've done some repairs to this box as well. It's really starting to flake apart in the areas up here, so really the only thing I can do to preserve it as best as possible is to tape up the edges. So I did that. I glued up some parts of it that were peeling off with a glue stick and some super glue. And this whole corner right here, big chunk of it was missing, so I cut off a patch off of a Granger box, and I did a little paint work there with a little green acrylic paint pen, and I taped that on there. It's alright, looks the part. But yeah, so there's that. Not many people, even collectors, would go through the lengths that I have gone through with even the packaging on this, but there it is. It also came with the feet. They've got a little stress marks right there, but there's still plenty of meat there to hold the clip on, so they're not broken. However, I will never put the feet back on this fan. They'll just live out in the box with it. I've used this fan over a few nights, and works great. I love this thing. But yeah, I grew up with these Lasko premiums like this. My grandmother had 3 or 4 of these, slightly later model that had the blue and white plug, or had the clear plug with the blue insert in the middle of it. The early version of the I should say the second revision of the fused plug is what those fans had. I believe they still had the recalled motor though. But yeah, my grandmother and my grandfather purchased 3 or 4 of those brand new in the early 2000s, and I remember those fans fondly. In fact, I had one at one point when I was about 4 years old, but I took everything apart as a kid. I took apart my dad's computers, stereo system, fans especially. Like when I got that fan, it was no time before I had that thing completely in pieces, and I just had the rotor on the with the with the rotor and the front motor housing, and I would just hold the motor housing and just spin it by hand. That was my toy. It sounds pretty graphic thinking back on it, but that's what I did as a kid. Took everything apart. But yeah, so these fans are very nostalgic for me due to that connection. But yeah, anyways, enough rambling. Go for a run here. 120 volts, do amp draw and all that, low speed. .62 medium. Now I might tip over on this mouse mat. .9 high speed. Shut it off. Yeah. We'll get a look here at the info stamped on the bottom of the cabinet. It'll be kind of hard to see because it wasn't stamped that deep, but there you go. That's the best I can do. 2000 to 2001. And there's that stamp right there. Anyways, that's it for my Lasko Premium Model 3723 from 2001. Thanks for watching.